How are you doing? I wonder, have you got a good memory? If someone says something to you, can you remember it for a long time afterwards? We're going to play a game to test your memory. Have a look at this table and try and remember the things on it. So there's a phone, a board pen, a fork, a pen, a big paper clip, a whistle, a sweet, some chopsticks and a cup. One of those objects is going to disappear and we're going to see whether you can remember what it was. So are you ready? 1, 2, 3. Can you remember what it was? That's right, it was the fork. Okay, try again. 1, 2, 3. It was a whistle that went that time. Did you get that one? And last one. After 3. 1, 2, 3. It was a cup that went that time. Did you get them all, or did you have trouble remembering? It's coming up to Easter, and I wonder how good you are at remembering what happens at Easter, other than having chocolate eggs. Well, I'm going to tell you the story to help you remember. So during the story, we're going to need to use our hands to do various actions. So we need to get our hands and our fingers exercised and ready. So we're going to do our finger aerobics. So get your fingers all stretched, and then we'll do our exercises. Move that finger, then move that one, then that one, then that one, then that one, and then wave them all at once. So I think we've now got our fingers nice and exercised and we're ready for the story. So listen out for various actions that we're going to do during the story to help us to remember what happened at Easter. Easter really starts on Palm Sunday. Jesus entered the great city of Jerusalem riding on a donkey, and everyone cheered, everyone waved, and the people realised that Jesus was really special. And they wanted to show it. So they pulled leaves from palm trees and waved them like flags. So our first action is going to be waving our hands around, just like those people did on Palm Sunday. But as the week went on, people's minds changed and their attitudes changed. People started to plot and to plan against Jesus. Jesus knew that everything that was going to happen was part of God's plan. And he also knew exactly what was going to take place. He could have run away, but he didn't do that. He gathered his friends together for one last meal. And Jesus told them what would happen. He showed them how they would have to look after one another, and he shared some bread and some wine with them. Even though those bad men thought that they had the power, Jesus was really in control. So we're going to wave our hands, and then we're going to remember that special meal by miming eating. After the meal, Jesus gathered together his friends and they went to a garden. And in that garden, Jesus prayed. And that means he talked to God. Jesus asked for God to help him in a special way, to make him strong to face what was to come. He knew that it would be hard, but he knew that God would help him. And when we go through hard times, we can pray that God will help us too. So that's our next action, some hands like praying hands. So we wave, we eat, we pray. But whilst Jesus was praying, some of his enemies arrived. They waved their fists and the swords at him in anger. And one of Jesus' friends tried to fight, but Jesus said, stop. He said that this was meant to happen and that he let the men take him away and arrest him. So let's go through our actions. We cheered, we ate, we prayed, and then we shook our fists. But Jesus was taken here and there, and finally Pilate, the man in charge, ordered Jesus to be killed. And the way that he was going to die was going to be horrible. He was going to be nailed to a cross. So our sign now is the one that we use in sign language to stand for Jesus. And it shows where the nails were put in Jesus' hands. So that's our next symbol. So let's do all our actions now. We wave because we celebrated at start. Then we had the meal. Then we prayed. And then the angry men came and they took Jesus off to die. Jesus' enemies cheered and were pleased, but Jesus' friends were so upset as they watched him die. They thought it had all gone wrong. Didn't Jesus have a plan? Wasn't he going to show his enemies that he was in control? They thought back to the events of the last week. They thought of all those things. And then they thought about what Jesus had said about God being in control. And something amazing happened. Jesus died on the cross on Friday. He was taken down and buried in a cave. A stone was pushed over the doorway. And then on Sunday, some of his friends went to the tomb. How shocked they were when they saw that the massive stone had been taken away from the mouth of the tomb and that Jesus' body was gone. And then they were even more shocked because a man was standing nearby and they realised it was Jesus. Jesus had come back to life. He was in charge after all. So can we remember all the actions now? Our waving hands, eating our meal, praying, the angry men, Jesus being killed on the cross, but then the shock and surprise when Jesus came back to life. Jesus smiled and they began to realise what Jesus' plan had been all along. Jesus had died so that we could be forgiven for any bad things we do. And he came alive again to show us that God's in control and that he will listen to us when we have problems and that he will always be there to be our friends. Jesus' friends smiled and cheered and waved their hands in celebration. So can we go through those actions one last time? Waving and eating and praying. The angry men. Jesus being crucified. And the shock when Jesus came back to life. And I guess we could end up with where we started waving our hands in praise. So I hope you enjoy whatever you do at Easter. I hope you'll enjoy Easter eggs if you have them. But I hope you remember the story of Easter and perhaps you remember those actions. Bye for now.